The three body problem.
Everybody problem. I might try it. I might try it. But I got a lot of shows that I have to watch.
Well, you'll be elated to know that democracy has been completely spread to the automaton worlds.
It's
I
true.
read
You
that.
cannot fight automatons anymore.
They've been liberated, Vicky.
They're gone.
I
You know,
mean,
totally. They're not gonna come back.
of course, we've won.
No, possible.
I mean,
You want.
managed democracy is, unparalleled. It's when I listened to someone explain what like the lore, like managed democracy is.
Oh yeah.
It's like you fill out a survey as to like what your
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
policy
That's right.
positions are, and then it
Hmm.
assigns you a candidate that your vote goes to.
Yep. Yep. I've heard that.
That's supposedly closest to your beliefs. Now, whether that actually is true, of course, who knows?
Who knows?
The only thing we know is that service guarantees citizenship.
Beautiful.
What? Oh, already.
For developing the stealth over gameplay.
No, Ben, please.
Dude, I'm level 56. I've done like
Ed can
20
do
levels.
whatever he wants. He's level 56.
I've done 20 levels of destruction. I did the entire like war. I did like an entire like. I have my one-handed at 100. I have my archer at 100. I have destruction and conjuration at 100. Like, I have smithing at 100, enchanting. Like, I'm doing it all, man.
Yeah.
And I haven't even succumbed to the dabbing curse of just enchant alch. I have that set up if I ever want to,
Oh, if you ever wanted to do the
just to
basically
break the
cheating,
game.
it just
Yeah,
breaks the game. Yeah, because it's just it's infinitely scaling, right? Like
I
you can
always
just
like enchanting, so I think the way I'd do it if I was gonna do it would be just enchant and just no, don't use the like alchemy bottles because that still gives you a reward like without breaking the game.
right.
But that's not yet. I am in full. Actually, I legendary heavy armor and I'm going for light,
Oh,
Ooh.
which
very good.
Does it? So does the heavy armor just make you like consume more stamina? And
and if you fully upgrade it, it doesn't weigh anything basically, and like it makes your unarmed attacks do a lot.
oh, is that light armor or heavy armor? Wait.
Heavy armor.
Oh. Okay, so like it doesn't weigh anything. So what's the point of like light
If
armor then?
if you guys light armor increases your stamina regen and let me look. Let me take a peek at the tree.
Oh, it increases it, so it's got like negative.
Yeah, stamina
Wait.
regen's 50% faster.
Oh,
You have a
alright.
10% dodge chance if you're wearing all of it, and you still
Cool.
get a good chunk of armor if you go into light armor. You probably get more than like a base heavy armor with fully upgraded light armor tree. So that's good.
Damn it. Damn it. Oh,
I don't know. I've pretty much discovered every location. I have like almost every warp power. I feel like, and I did it naturally. But now is the time for sneaky. I'm gonna do Thieves Guild, Dark Brotherhood,
ow.
and yeah.
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
That is objectively my favorite quest line in the game.
The murder hobo guild.
The murder hobo guild, Vicky. What's not to
Yeah,
love?
I think it's the best well
So what
written.
do they do besides just kill people? Cause like, what is their deal?
Have you played the game?
No,
Not
she
enough to know
hasn't.
about the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, okay. So their whole deal is like, again, they're like basically a dangerous cult, and they worship Sithis,
Oh,
who
okay.
is like the void, basically. He's like
Yeah.
formless.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way they usually get these like contracts is people perform a ritual, like with a like you have to perform a ritual with certain elements to like have your wish, like your death contract, to be heard
Yeah.
Yeah.
by the Night Mother, who is in lore a dark elf woman who like that would be like 1,000 or 600 years ago as of like Oblivion, so probably even longer after Skyrim.
All right.
Like is basically like the Mother Mary of with Sithis. So like she kind of is like his bride, but like whatever. She killed her
Okay.
kids in service to him because he said so, and now she's like a mummy. And there's one person that can listen to her,
Well,
and
the
they can
listener.
receive the contracts called the listener. So there's a crazy jester named Cicero in Skyrim named Cicero who like is traveling around with a big box, and you can meet him outside Whiterun. And he's like, my thing broke down. And you're like, okay, whatever, dude. Um, but then he gets if you like go a little farther, like you go into the Dark Brotherhood quest line, you like do like 2 or 3 contracts to kill like easy people. It's like
Mm-hmm.
kill a homeless guy in his shack. And it's like okay. Um, and then Cicero shows up at the Dark Brotherhood Sanctum. And he's like, yep, I've got the Night Mother. All the Dark Brotherhood Sanctums in Cyrodiil, where she's normally held, have fallen. So I'm bringing them to you guys. And so like basically, it just Astrid, who's like the leader of the guild, she's like, oh, no, like I don't know about this. So whatever, just go kill a few more people. So you go kill a few more no names. You come back. She's like, I got the greatest plan. Hide in the coffin with the mummy, and see who he's talking to, because I hear him talking to people. Um, and then you get in the coffin. Hey, surprise, surprise, Skyrim, you're the listener. So you hear that you have to get a contract from some guy in like an ancient Nord who's like waiting for you in an ancient Nord ruin. So you go there, you get the contract, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have you kill the Emperor on his royal visit to Skyrim." And he's like, he gives you like proof. You go get the proof like appraised. You like that's where I'm at right now in the quest. I just got it
Oh,
appraised.
okay.
You get it appraised at the Thieves Guild, which is funny because you have to make it a little far into the Thieves Guild to even get it appraised.
Makes
And if
sense.
you talk to the guy and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got another job for you," and you're like, "Actually,
Definitely falls in with like that Todd Howard thing where you just like become the leader of every faction.
my headcanon is that like each of these things is a different person, and so like
That has to be right because
you're
it
playing
wouldn't make
through the
sense
story.
otherwise.
Yeah, because unless you're just So I mean,
I
You're
that's
mean,
how it
you're the
works.
Dragonborn and you're a
Like,
listener and
I
you're
think the
like
only one that makes sense to have crossover is the main storyline and the Civil War. Those are the only two that are like
yeah
directly intertwined, which
because
is fair.
in the main story it's like you're like in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm. It's the inciting conflict. It's all that. So
Mhm.
it's good. But like they never make mention of anything dragon related in any of the other
Right.
ones, which makes sense. But basically, yes, you get the net. You go back to Astrid and you're like, "Yep, it's legit." And she's like, "Dang. Okay, well, we gotta get working on this." So you like do a whole complicated thing. You have to. There's like this cookbook you can keep coming across in Skyrim, like in every kitchen, called like Uncommon Taste, written by the Gourmet. And so you
Oh.
have to do a whole where the Gourmet is gonna serve the Emperor his food on the tour. So you have to
Ooh.
find out who the Gourmet is, like through like intimidating like a guy in the kitchens of some hold, and then you find out who he is, where he's staying, and you go kill him, and you hide his body. You impersonate him at the castle. But here's the twist: when you serve the emperor the poisoned food and he dies, it was a body double, and it was the
Oh,
whole time. Astrid sold you out because she didn't want. She was just happy before all this was going down. So you run back to the night sanctum or whatever. Actually, the reason you get the emperor there is you kill his cousin, who's like a merchant in the harbor, at her wedding, which is kind of fun. You have to like. There's a bunch of ways you can do it.
I
I
think the
drop a statue.
canonical way you're supposed to do it is pushing the statue. Yeah.
I push the statue every time. There's a glitch you can do where if you push the statue and time it perfectly as it drops on her head, you can teleport back without anyone being hostile and still get the quest reward.
That's funny.
Not that
that's
I've done that.
insane.
Not that I've
No,
done
not that you've done that. No.
that.
No, of course not.
But basically, so Astrid sold you out, which she kind of like. It's crazy. You go into like the sanctum, it's being raided. You kill all the people that are raiding it, but like they got literally like most of the Dark Brotherhood. They got like 8 out of 10 of like the people in it. So you're like, well, this sucks. And so you like open this secret room, and like in the sanctum, and it's Astrid. She's performed the like black sacrament to call a contract on herself because she regrets what she did. So she's like this burned up corpse looking thing on the floor with like it's crazy looking, and you have to kill her. And she's like, I'm sorry. And so then you go to the sanctum in Dawnstar where there's like an old outpost that's been abandoned, and Cicero's there. You can either kill him or not, because he's an insane person, and he's really annoying. So like
So you kill him,
I
obviously.
He's
usually
really annoying, and I'm a part of the Dark Brotherhood, so let's just kill him.
it's basically whether you're gonna go like Joker mode or like Hitman mode. So I usually go Hitman mode. But and then you basically just kind of rebuild with the profits from killing the Emperor, which you do go back and do. And the Emperor, it's a really cool thing. You get like you have to board the ship, kill all those like, sailors and stuff, and then get to the Emperor's room, and he's like, "Yep, I expected this. Do what you must. We're all pawns in the scheme." And you're just like, "What? That's not satisfying, but it's awesome. I don't want to kill you, but then you do. You have to.
Wow.
You must. It is your
You
destiny.
It is."
I mean, it's how it works, Vicky. Once the sacrament is called, they must be killed. You see.
Pretty much. I mean, literally, yeah. Like that's the whole deal. So then you can just do like pretty much there after the Emperor, like you restart the Dawnstar Brotherhood. And you're the head of the the new Brotherhood because you're the listener.
Of course.
And then it kind of ends there. You can take the 20,000 gold or whatever profit from killing the Emperor and reinvest it into the Sanctum to make it really cool looking, which I always do because I'm sitting here right now at 101,000 gold.
Yeah, too much gold, which is yep.
So it looks cool. You can do some like miscellaneous contracts, including killing Miss Zine, who's mostly White Rune character.
Oh.
Oh, who's him?
He's the you get to the Cloud District very often.
Oh yeah.
What am I saying?
My gosh.
So that's the Dark Brotherhood questline. It's really good. It's obviously I rushed what I was talking about, and there's like definitely 3 or 4 steps in between each of those.
Yeah. No, that sounds fun.
But it's
Mhm.
it's probably my favorite of the questline. It's actually I think one of the best, most well written. So I'd say that one. I'd say if in terms of ranking, I'd say it's Dark Brotherhood the best, Thieves Guild second, Companions third, College of Winterhold fourth. But I'd say
College of Winterhold is kind of lackluster.
That's what I mean. You don't. I think it's like it like actively like punishes you for being a wizard. Sometimes I feel like there's a
Yeah.
dungeon through in the Labyrinthian. I just did it because I'm not the archmage, but
Well, yeah, of course.
there's a like the goat like the end boss of the dungeon keeps like whispering to you, but whenever his like whisper thing comes up on screen, you just lose all your mana.
Oh,
Which if you're a pure mage, and then like usually, like,
I think this is supposed to be hard for mages, is like the idea, but then
yeah,
like
but instead
like
it
the idea is
easy.
just it becomes easy if you're not a mage, which is
Yeah.
stupid.
So it's like
Yeah.
weird, but
It should like drain all your stamina or something. Like you should just like fuck you over if you're like not a wizard user.
I feel
That
like
way
it
you have
does.
to become a mage to beat it.
It'd be way cooler if the college wasn't just like, yeah, we're awesome and all magical. And if it was instead like, we're like all about artifacts. Because that's what the vibe is throughout the whole quest line. Like, it's like, oh, the ancient order of monks, whatever. Oh, crazy. It's like, oh, what is this magical artifact? Blah, blah, blah. I feel like they could have done more. Companions is like short, sweet, to the point. Werewolves, cool. Nothing too crazy. It's your standard swing a sword kind of thing. But I think Brotherhood and Thieves Guild where it's got some legs. Not that I've played them all 20 times.
Ben's played all of them a bajillion times.
I've played all of them a lot. Probably the companions the least. Just because I usually... I don't know why, actually. I did them first this playthrough. Quite fun.
Yeah.
It's a gold sapphire. Alright, go away. Ah, dude.
Oh my god.
You're supposed to be the meter read.
I love some of the plasma guns here that just have unlimited ammo.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
My lockpick is at 99, y'all. We're getting there. I don't know if I'm gonna do it on this character. Have you ever done it, Jared, where you restored the Ratway to his prime?
I think at that point I had... oh, I don't remember.
It's basically it's super. You have to do like 3 jobs, or like I forget the exact qualification. You have to do like 5 jobs in like at least 9 holes or something. It's weird.
Oh.
You have to do at least like 15 like different like miscellaneous quests, and it just unlocks a bunch of vendors in the Ratway, which is super crazy. So it's fun.
Oh, I think I remember that now.
I'm gonna try to do it since this is my
Oh my
last ever run
gosh.
through it.
Yeah, I think there becomes a point where it's just like I've played enough Skyrim, I feel.
This is that I'm trying to turn myself out so that I never have the urge to play this game again.
There's no way that's what you're trying to do, really.
No, it's not. I
Yeah,
really
okay.
enjoy this game. I'm having fun. Because I haven't played it.
You're just having fun, dude. Like
Yeah, I am.
that's fine. It doesn't matter if it's an old ass game. Having
It
fun
matters.
with it. It doesn't matter actually.
It matters to me. No, I'm having a good time.
Oh my gosh. Get me out of here.
I'm having fun playing like each of the different
Like-
builds. Stealth Archer, I know it's powerful. Completed the numbers job. Let me look at exactly how this requirement works. Restore. Then I gotta go to bed. I'm going to thegamer.com. Oh, you need to do. Okay, so you need to do 5 jobs in each of the 4 cities. So it's 20 missions. Okay. I can do that. Ready for some extra work. Now I'll save so that if I don't like.
I might go to sleep. I'm tired. I
Yeah,
don't even know why. It's just early.
What is the heist job? Riften. Oh, no, we don't want Riften. Riften's not on the table.
Hmm.
It
Wait,
needs to be 5
they
in
call it the
fight mode.
shuttle? Oh.
Hmm. Mark cards. Perfect. I should keep a tally. Let me keep a note.
Mm-hmm.
Notes. Pad. This is right run. 1. Solitude. 0. Mark card. 0. Wind cone. 1. Need 5. Data. And choose. And save it to desktop. Not me.
So yeah, no, I'll move my friends, but no, no,
Sure,
he's
look
I
at
got friends again.
friends.
Oh my gosh. Really? They killed me right at the end?
Damn.
My own team.
Damn,
My own team airstriked me.
your LT airstrike you. They airstrike you? An extraction?
Right now,
Awful,
I'm next to the extraction point, and the
Are they
airstrike
doing
awful.
it
me.
as like, are they doing like one of those things where they just try to like bomb the areas you leave
There
and
wasn't
then
even
just
that
bomb
much
you?
stuff.
No, no, they're just stupid.
They're just too, well, what?
What? Yeah,
I
no.
refuse to believe it.
I love this gun.
Me, and I love that gun.
Oh, where did he
No.
come from?
I'm seeing like a comic on Twitter that's just like exactly what I just did, but like making fun of it. Where it's like two guys standing there, and it's like, yeah, I went to visit my friend this weekend. The other guy's like,
Oh yeah.
friend pilled visit Maxer.
Well, it's like another thing. No, I think of one comic where it's like what was it? I was talking about something bro talk to his friend.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
like that's
Oh
just
my
all our
gosh.
conversations.
Yeah, it's like it's putting it in perspective, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
Oh my
just like
gosh.
instantly making fun of the other
Yeah,
person for
for
no
fucking
reason. It doesn't even make sense. It just
just to be
I'm on the
making fun.
ship. Oh my gosh.
he's alive.
He's alive.
Like I was putting into perspective all our conversations.
I'm not gonna stop, but it's very
I
funny.
probably I know, but I mean I'm gonna stop a little bit
A
maybe.
little. She stopped.
She stopped.
So boom, we got Jared joining.
What is it?
Saying you're joining in the joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. All right, I'm off to Betty Bye.
All right.
I
Have a great night, y'all.
night.
Good night, Ben.
I'll stay on for like
For a
stay
little
on for a
bit.
few more minutes. I think it sounds good.
All right.
I think. I don't know. How's your podcast or your professor going? How's like how's Egypt?
Oh my. He's been. It's been interesting. I just. God, I'm only halfway through, and I've been listening to him like for like 3 weeks. So like, I think it's been cool. I've committed. I've committed at this point to finishing it. You know,
Yeah.
I've got to get through it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been so like. It has been funny to like, cause I was started at his oldest stuff, right, and I'm like working my way to the present.
Mm-hmm.
It has been funny to like hear some like Egypt adjacent things come out like over the years, like Assassin's Creed Origins, and he's like reacting to them for the first time there. Um, what else? It has been interesting because I have some like like atheist YouTubers that I listen to every
Mhm.
now and then. But it does like knowing more does like cheapen some of their like attacks on the Bible sometimes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I'm like,
Makes sense.
that's not actually what that's saying there.
Right.
That doesn't
Right.
mean that the person you're criticizing actually understands that either. But
Probably not. That's the thing. I think there's very few people in the world who understand the Bible.
and so like even like some of the commandments are just
Mhm.
um like we talk about with Egypt, right? Like protect the grain, right?
It's like exam.
Um the reason why gluttony is a sin is not because like, oh, you're indulging yourself. Like that's a sin. That's not why it's a sin.
Because you're not leaving enough food for everybody else.
Yeah. He's like gluttony isn't a sin because it's self-indulgence. It's gluttony is a sin because it's murder.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
Where everyone's living on a knife's edge to get enough calories to
Everyone's living
survive.
on rations, and if you take too many rations, that's not enough for other people.
Exactly. Like to the point where there's like a state facilitated like bartering system almost in
Hmm.
Egypt where they're like everyone will bring the grain that they produced to the imperial granary.
Okay.
We will write down
Yeah.
how much grain you produced and then we will
Right.
distribute things to you appropriate to your household and production.
Hmm.
Like we don't trust you guys to handle this yourselves.
And that way we have a thing of it, and that way if like people like take too much, we have like a way to like
We can go kill them and all of their family
it's much
members.
easier to like if like you own everything to police the granaries rather than everyone like say keeping their own stockpiles and stealing from each other. That sounds a lot harder to
Mm-hmm.
manage legally.
They were talking about how the pharaoh would put down rebellions.
Mm-hmm.
Say a village was in rebellion,
Yeah, yeah.
he'd just
How they
kill
do
all of them.
it. That'll show them.
It's like, oh, are you rebelling? No, you're not.
How can you be rebelling if there are no more people left to rebel?
Like there are just parts of like where you're like listening to some of this stuff and it's like, oh, this is like they're like much more advanced for their time. And then you just hear something unspeakably horrible.
There seems to be a lot of things that I hear about Egypt. It's just like them doing like horrible things a lot of the time, especially yeah, or like to their neighbors just all the time,
Oh yeah,
especially.
constantly. Well, and it wasn't so like Egypt was like I'd say it's actually somewhat similar to the modern sense of an empire, where like
Okay.
it's more about economic hegemony than
Hmm.
direct control.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So like they're controlling the flow of trade. They're controlling like, okay, you're this city, you make this, send us half of it.
Hmm.
But they don't give a shit who actually rules Byblos, for example.
Yeah. 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 Just that you pay your tithe.
So
Or
like the mayor of Byblos is like, hey, we're being invaded. Can you help me? I pay my tribute all the time. And Akhenaten's like, I really don't give a shit.
no, but if you don't help us, you won't get your tribute. Unless they do, because they could just press the new guy into it.
Well, the new guy promises to pay the tribute, and so he stays out of it.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And so he's just like, well, I win either way, so I don't care. And of course, it's all dressed up in like, their diplomatic
Yeah.
language and tradition. But at the core of it is that's what he's really saying. He's like, as long as I get my tribute, I'm happy. I don't care. You know. Now, at the same time, while they were able to do unspeakable things to foreigners and people in acts of rebellion,
Hmm.
it was forbidden for any government official to put someone down for arbitrary reasons.
That's good, I think. I don't.
The pharaoh was the only one
I-
allowed to
I'm
give
not
the
an
death penalty.
expert in ethics and morality, but that sounds good.
Really?
I don't think random officers should be executioner.
That's crazy, Vicky. I don't know. I don't know about this newfangled ethics you've got here. Um, did we talk about this where there's no like codified laws
Um,
for a really long time?
oh, okay.
It's just
You
all
kind of
judges.
did.
So like British
Is that why
common law?
Hammurabi's like so like is that like he's important just because like oh that's an actually at least kind of codified
Well, like
system of laws.
the other cultures do codify their laws a lot earlier.
Okay,
The Egyptians just don't.
I guess their religion probably I don't know. Like that works better.
It's just a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
like tradition and like I feel like it's more similar to the British like uh common law of like just we kind of figure it out case by case
Yeah,
and build
yeah.
tradition and
That's what
precedent
the
rather
judges are
than
for.
writing it down.
Common law.
Well, then we're just a ton of judges.
Hmm.
You could go to court any day of the week you wanted.
Right.
Um, what else? I mean, so he was talking also about like the relevance of the Old Testament
Oh.
as opposed to the New Testament, right, for Christians.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause he's like, it's not that the Old Testament is irrelevant, but then the New Testament is saying that things are changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that not all of the Old Testament needs to be followed, but there were certain principles that are
Well,
reiterated in the New Testament as still being
yeah. A
important.
lot of it does need to be followed, if I like
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Like the kosher law is tied to the sacrificial law and the temple law
Hmm.
because they are all about um the separating of the holy and the unholy
Right. Right.
and sacrificing to the holy things that are pure.
Hmm.
Right? You're not supposed to give a sheep with a lame leg as your sacrifice. You're supposed to give your best sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Um, and that Jesus is the end of that era of that covenant of
Hmm.
sacrifice, that system of sacrifice. So, like because he himself is the ultimate sacrifice.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He is the most perfect lamb, so to speak.
Right. Right. That's why they call him that.
And that's why that's why we don't need to
That's why they
sacrifice
call him
anymore.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. I did not realize that.
But it fits like his presence is also serving to justify Christianity in the old context of ancient
Hmm.
sacrificial law.
Right.
And it's like again, it's like it's something you wouldn't get if you are reading it in a modern context.
Hmm.
Like a lot of how they're trying to justify Jesus in the New Testament is with Old Testament things. He's supposedly related to King David.
Christianity is like portrayed as sort of like a new Judaism kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? As opposed to like what maybe something else like
As opposed to
I
like
don't
the Book of Mormon.
know. As opposed to all the anti-Semitism that happens afterwards.
Well, because like the Book of Mormon, because he talks about the Book of Mormon. Is that they're supposedly the like lost tribes of Israel,
Right.
but
Well, that's like what like every like they all say that. Isn't that like also Nation of Islam? Like that's
mm-hmm.
the same. They do the same thing.
but
It's
but he's like they weren't really lost. We know where they are. The Assyrians spread them throughout the empire. So when we see a random Jewish name in some random town for a mercenary
Mhm.
or a banker or a scribe or a scattered throughout the Assyrian jurisdiction, he's like that's where the tribes went.
Right.
It's not a mystery as to what happened to them. That the Assyrians had a standing policy of spreading people out so that they couldn't rebel.
It's like a pretty good policy, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm. You have to break the power structures if you want to hold power.
Hmm. Well, isn't that what the British Empire did?
Mm,
Right, I was wrong.
not as extensively.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm talking like if invading army swept into Chula Vista, Vicky, and deported 80% of the people.
That's a lot.
Like we're taking just like nuclear family groups and just moving them. Like you guys are now
You guys go over here.
over here, and you guys go over here, and we're gonna take other people from other parts of the empire and put them where you are. Completely destroy the like cultural um,
Yeah, that is a bit.
uniformity.
All right, all right. Inspiration.
I mean, it's definitely different than what the Egyptians would have done.
Just kill them all.
Like that's what they do to the Hyksos. Like the Hyksos have the gall, of course, Vicky, to control northern Egypt for a little bit,
Hmm.
and then Armoza comes along and he pushes them out, and they run to modern day Gaza,
Right.
and then Armoza like he stabilizes his reign, raises another army, and then wipes them out. Like there's no mention of them anymore in history. It kind of wipes them out.
Oh, they're just gone. Like, yeah.
They just don't exist anymore. Kind of gone. Um, what else? He also talks about how like most people like. Do you know the story of Jonah?
Um, you went to a whale, or
Mm-hmm.
not a whale, but
The
well, maybe a
Leviathan or
whale,
something like that.
some creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I don't know much about that. I know he went to a whale. We'll just put it at that. That's all I know.
Well, a lot of time it's portrayed as like that he survived in the whale for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's dead.
Oh, okay.
Which is why
What's
there's a line
what's the
in.
story? Like I guess I should look at the story now.
Yeah, I don't know the full story, but I do remember the like vaguely the like he gets swallowed by a fish and then comes out kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's dead for 3 days.
Okay.
He's described as being in Sheol, which is the underworld.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So he's dead and comes back.
and he comes back to
So
life. And so there was a line he pointed out in the New Testament where Jesus is saying like, I come with the mark of Jonah.
greater than Jonah. He promises the Pharisees the sign of Jonah when referring to his resurrection, because it's literally just what Jonah does.
Yes, that's
Alright.
another callback to the Old Testament. He's like, I'm like Jonah. I'm related to David. I'm fulfilling
Mhm.
this law. I'm like, oh, that was also something he was talking about. Is like prophecies um, were pretty common to just be written all the time back then.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
people would take like old prophecies that were like somewhat fit the like situation they're in now and say, "Oh, this was foretold, and that's why we need to do this." And I fulfill this prophecy. And that justifies my right to rule. You see, well, this is a common. This is pretty common practice.
Oh wait. Okay, I should read this now because this is exciting. Read this. Well, I never read this before, so.
Mm-hmm. What else? He also said the book of Judges. I think
Um,
it's in the Old
what
Testament.
about Judges? Yeah, it's another Old Testament book.
The order of the book of Judges is not chronological. It's in order of best to worst judges. That's what he was saying. And again, taking from the Egyptians, right?
Mhm.
That's why you have a whole bunch of judges.
Right.
Because it's not a written law for most things.
Well, again, well, this is like it's very it's that's the Talmud, right? It's just like a whole, it's like a whole thing of just like common law, basically. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like a bunch of judges making judgments about like the Jewish laws.
Mm-hmm. Because he said it was a later attempt to like write down and record the oral tradition of the common law. So what else? Um, I think. He was very against the comparison of Osiris and Jesus, unsurprisingly. Because he was like, Osiris doesn't actually come back to life,
Yeah, he's just
he stays dead.
yeah, he's just stuck in the underworld now. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
exactly sure
He is.
how that works.
He stays in the underworld. He judges the dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of gods involved in judging the dead. Because it's like, it's Osiris. There's a specific god for every sin that you have to say that you
Yep.
didn't do. And then there's Thoth, who's there to write the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
There's Anubis, who's there to weigh the heart and get you to the trial. There's Amit, who's going to consign you to oblivion if you fail. I wonder where Pharaoh got the idea. Anyway, uh, mm. Do you know what execration is?
Execration. Nope.
It is the act of uncreation.
Okay.
Um, very much a folk magic kind of thing that people would try to do back then.
Oh.
You would like create a statue or a painting or write the name of someone that you hated, and then you would destroy the representation of them.
Oh. Like a voodoo doll.
Kind of. This was supposed to curse them.
Like well, isn't that kind of, I guess what kind of isn't
Yeah.
that like what the doll is? I mean,
It's a
at
lot
least
like what the doll does, yeah.
it's a similar idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a common thing everywhere.
Um, he was also talking about the Gnostic. He hates Gnosticism so much.
Oh yeah, why? It's too
He's,
larpy. It's too larpy.
it's because they allegorize everything.
Yeah, it's too larpy. That's what makes it cool though. But yeah, that would make it really shitty for a historian. I would
Mm-hmm.
suspect.
He's like, because they just allegorize every religion to just being their religion.
Oh yeah, yeah, the super syncretic. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Um, and that it is the Gnostics are. I mean, he explained it as the Gnostics are to the ancient Egyptian religion as Christianity is to Judaism.
Oh, okay.
It's like a more Hellenic version of the old system. Um,
I've looked a little bit into Gnosticism because I find it so interesting. But yeah, it's very esoteric. It's like
yes, it is a secret cult. It's a mystery cult religion.
yeah, yeah, it is esoteric.
Um,
And yeah, you need to keep listening to that podcast. I have a podcast that I listen to, which is about esotericism. So like
mm,
about like um all these like yeah, like not quite religions, but like the cults, like the secret cults, like basically magic
well,
and like
the line
magic.
between the two was not always so.
It's hard, right? That's like the first like 6 episodes of the podcast are about that, are about like where the term magic comes from, what makes magic different from religion and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and
Well,
like
because like,
what is the difference? Because there is a difference. It's just hard to say what it. It's just hard to say what it is a lot of times.
right. Well, in for example, Egyptian state religion was an esoteric religion.
Hmm.
Like there, you're not gonna see a bunch of random people showing up at the temple of Amun and worshiping. It's high priests, it's pharaoh, it's aristocrats. But all if you were a random Egyptian, you probably never saw the actual statue of Amun in the temple.
Wow.
The commoner there were only two gods that really the commoners had much access to outside of festival days. It was Hathor, the the cow goddess,
Yeah.
the default worship.
Yeah. That's right.
Um, because she was just good in several qualities of like she's a fertility goddess, right? She's so it's
Hmm.
like
Right.
she brings you the grain, she brings you children, she brings you
Hmm.
healing. Those are pretty good things. Um,
What more could you want, honestly? What more could civilization want?
well, there's Thoth, is the other
Yep.
commoner religion,
True. True.
who is the god of writing and knowledge and magic. Um, and he was really worshipped by scribes or any who were just educated enough to read. And all of the other gods, for the most part, were worshipped just by the acolytes of the temples.
Right. So these are like your cults,
Yeah.
as the ancient term, the ancient version of the word.
Mm-hmm. There was supposed to be a certain element of like of secret knowledge, right? Of esotericism
Yep.
around the inner workings of the temple, of the rituals, of all of that.
Hmm.
That's why I think it's like it really depends on context. Because I don't know, you're the one that listened to the whole podcast about the difference.
No. That's why I said I have not listened to the whole thing. I've listened to a bit, like
Hmm.
to a few episodes. Like,
But like, is Egypt a ruled by a bunch of aristocrats with esoteric like religions, or are they ruled by a bunch of aristocrats with esoteric cults?
yeah, yeah. What's the difference? Who's to say? And the problem is I can't answer that because the podcast also is specifically about Europe,
Mm.
like it's about Western, and so
Mm-hmm.
it starts in Greece
I
and I
see.
think continues from there.
Ah. And
So
as
it starts after, first of all, like after a lot of your Egypt stuff, and secondly, I think it's not gonna go there. I think if it tried to touch on Egypt, the podcast would be 3 times longer.
I mean, you could say that about any podcast that intersects with Egypt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
um, there's just a lot of it.
Hmm.
But like, also the Greeks very much copy the model of the Egyptians in their forms of worship.
Right.
So that's why there's so much, like the syncretism is so easy during the
Hmm.
Hellenic period, is that the form of worship, several of the god archetypes are just the same between the two religions. For example, like the Dionysian cult,
Hmm.
they just are like a party secret cult
The first fraternity.
that then gets co-opted by the state because the state is like, hey, we have a lot of money now. Us aristocrats, we like to spend such money, and who throws the best parties? It's the secret Dionysian cult. Huh.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe we should not make them taboo anymore.
Wow. Sounds, sounds like government officials wanted to have some other fun there because I assume that there's no difference between like aristocrats and the government kind of thing. Like they're
Yeah.
like one of the same.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. It is interesting to me that democracy emerges from both dark ages.
Hmm. Elaborate.
Well, things get bad, and
Yes.
people don't idly sit by when things get bad. They try to find solutions.
Right. Right.
So when are the first strikes and labor actions in history, Vicky? At the beginning of the Bronze Age collapse.
Mm.
When is the first democracy ever shown in history? Right after the Bronze Age collapse. So you see this like populist impulse to like, hey, maybe we shouldn't leave all of the power in the hands of a few people that fucked up. Um, in response to both collapses, right? Europe comes out of the Dark Ages. You have the Enlightenment where we're like, let's rediscover old ideas from before the collapse,
Mm.
and we install democracy. Um, Same thing happens with ancient Greece. Coming out of the Dark Age, they experiment with all sorts of kinds of democracy. Right? Like everyone talks about Athenian democracy because
Yeah.
it's the closest to today, but then you see like things like, um, gosh, you see like the Spartan democracy, where I believe theirs was an assembly of a thousand random citizens that would vote on things, and it wasn't.
So you're saying we're destined for monarchies again? That's what you're saying.
Uh, no.
No.
Well, because like
I hope
I
not.
think the archaic system kind of collapses, and
Yeah.
then something new shows up. Is usually what happens, right? Like
Hmm.
the Hittite Empire collapses, and then you see the Jewish people that are able to settle there. The complicated network of trade that upholds the ability to make bronze, because tin is incredibly hard to find,
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
that collapses during the Bronze Age collapse. And because out of necessity, we figure out the rest of the steps into making iron useful.
Right, right. Basically, like if you lost an old technology, you find a different one, figure out a different one to
Yeah.
replace it.
So you see, like you
You
have
go from
these
bronze
different
to iron.
systems that
Hmm.
eventually the like conditions that were holding them up collapse, and then you see something else show up. It's still fascinating to me that you have like trade going from like China all the way to Spain during before the Bronze Age collapse.
It's pretty extensive, yeah. Like you expect it to be something that happens much later because it is happening
Hmm.
happens much later. It just also happened earlier, and then everything fell apart.
Yeah,
And we rebuild.
I do think the collapse was a bit worse than some people were really understand it to be.
Yeah, it's an apocalypse. Like I think, like in no uncertain terms, I think you can call it an apocalypse. It was like the end of the world.
It was. It just.
It's like how a lot of people portray like the end of the world to be like. I imagine, you know,
I mean,
I
I would
imagine
say it's
that
worse.
feels like. Yeah.
I mean, I think most post-apocalyptic shows imagine us
Mhm.
retaining our language.
True. True.
Like, Vicky, I need you to
Oh, I think that's
imagine.
partially well, that's just because language is like so well known right now, right? But, like it
But
could be
like,
that's like
I need you to imagine how bad things have to get, Vicky, where you don't teach your children how to speak English.
yeah.
Like, it's not just the written
Hmm.
language is gone. No, no, the spoken language is also gone
Yeah.
in a couple generations.
Right.
Like, what would be the circumstances where you don't teach the next generation English, even just the spoken version? Like,
I don't yeah I don't know what would have to happen. That yeah I mean it is literally that would be like the end of the world. That's the end of civilization. Like what do you do from there? I don't know.
like our communication is the most powerful thing we have as humans,
Hmm.
and so to just completely, for the most part, just in most regions that are affected by the Bronze Age collapse, to have just a clean linguistic break in the continuity of humanity is crazy.
That is kind of insane.
Like it's just like a okay, start over.
You lose everything, start over.
Yeah.
I definitely think that is like a really it is a really striking thing to imagine, and that's why sci-fi does it all the time.
Well, where we like lose technology
You
or
like you lose this technology.
mm-hmm.
That's like the olden times, like that's obviously like sci-fi's like off of each other, but I don't. But I think it's like
I mean, I
that
think that
probably is
trope
like an original.
that trope probably is like that like cultural memory of that.
Hmm.
That's why I think like the Roman Dark Age is not as bad.
Like yeah, like Europe medieval. No, it's not because it's
It's limited to like
it's the loss of like a huge like um unifying government, but it's not
mhm,
the loss of like technologies. It's the loss of like organizational power, which isn't as like
which isn't as
horrible a
bad, right?
loss. It isn't
Yeah,
as bad, especially on an individual level.
because like you're
I think
still
on an
getting
individual level, it probably didn't. It doesn't change the life of your like subsistence farmer that much.
yeah probably
Not
or
as much as the Bronze Age collapse did, where they probably just died.
yeah I uh, it's just like this like eldritch event where I just keep
It's like
learning more about it.
there's no subsistence farmers in Egypt. With like you're like every like you have to like work like with like the local governments and stuff, and it's just
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of it was also like it's such a gamble to go it alone.
mm-hmm.
So like you are pooling the risk, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we
It's
all fail
insurance.
or